purest essence of what makes a business tick is sometimes fleeting. It's not always available to draw on demand. So if you can capture these things on video, you're capturing magic in a bottle. My name is Tyson and I own New Line Media. I really believe that the keystone to any successful business is the connection that business builds with the people that it serves. Traditionally, these attributes were all achieved through interpersonal communication. It came through authentic connection. Then the arena of the internet introduced a whole range of resources that expanded what businesses were capable of achieving. But the trade-off for these new resources was that authentic connection with the people that we serve. And without that connection factor, businesses become commodities, just a name and a price tag. So the dilemma businesses face today is how to preserve that sense of connection in a digital space. And I believe that the answer to that problem is video. At New Line Media, my goal is to help you take your influence, your passion, your spirit, your essence, and make it available to anyone, at any time, no matter where they are. When the power of video is truly harnessed, it can become so much more than just a flashy way to promote yourself. Video can help your business build trust in those you serve or want to serve. It can build familiarity. It provides information and education, and most of all, it can pull your customer into your space for a few moments and give them a taste of what working with you would be like. It provides them with that in-house connection experience, no matter where they are. And that is what I focus on, because it's all about making a connection. So if you're a business owner who's ready to shift gears and unbind yourself using video as the business asset that it should be, then go to my site and submit a request to work with me. If I think I'm going to be the best fit for you, then I will reach out and we will schedule a time to meet.
Welcome to the Business Boys Talkin Business Virtual Power Lunch. Please welcome your hosts, Tyler Price and Brian Magleby.
We've got to update that agreement. We are no longer the virtual power lunch. We are the post lunch.
Yeah.
2 p.m. We are not. we got to get Jeremy to redo some wording on that one.
Back in the studio. Right?
That's right. Welcome to Talkin Business. 24th of May. Just cruising by.
Yeah, we're almost halfway through the year.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 80 freaking degrees
Is it?
Thursday.
Is it? I don't know.
Oh, and then guess what?
Like,
Winter shows back up again Saturday.
all right.
So.
Well, we choose to live here. There's a lot of upside.
Yeah,
but
there is. But
snowing on the 4th of July is one of them.
and that's happened way too often. So welcome to Talkin Business. Boy, look at that. We got the Rogers
We got
building.
the Rogers. This is where we're at.
It is. We're celebrating a little bit of, speaking of downtown Idaho Falls, last week.
Yeah,
Catherine
Smith came and talked to us about all the cool stuff that her group is doing, and
What's the name of the building she's in? Tyler Building? Or
no.
something? No, it wasn't Tyler Building. That's you.
Shane
Building, yeah.
Building,
So.
Yeah.
And then we got the Rogers building right there. Our guest we have today is both of them. We're in, well, you can see right behind Tyler's head is the window that we are on that side of you.
Yeah.
We're in that room right there. So we are in the Rogers building in downtown Idaho Falls. We've done some amazing.
Yeah, great things happening downtown. I recommend coming and walking around and seeing the place. And there's not a lot of space available anymore, and there's just cool little eclectic shops that are working hard.
They're doing great
support
down here,
yeah.
Just absolutely making things happen in downtown. So we had a great show last week with Catherine. Got a great show this week. Happy birthday.
You said we were singing, and
no,
I said we weren't.
We're not going to sing. That's okay. As far as I can go
All
on
right.
it. So without being chased out of the room. So. But we have Spencer Erickson, and yes, we won't say how old he is, but we will talk about how old he looks.
I said 15, but apparently it's a little
higher.
higher.
He looks 15, but he says that he's a little more than double that. But,
I don't believe it.
Yeah, we got to have to verify his ID. But we have Spencer Erickson here with the son of Eric Design. And when I put in the lead-in that this guy is the branding guru, I think I've seen many of companies that he's worked with, and He starts them out from square one of getting their logos the right color, the right size, the right dimensions, everything about it, and they brand their whole company based upon that.
Yeah, I think it's key. People need to know who you are, and that's having a logo that's cool.
And I've built some logos for some of the businesses that I've had, and we switch them around left and right, change colors here and there, and I can tell you that there's nowhere, I mean, I am nowhere in the level of, if he saw what I did with some of my logos, he would cringe. So, but
it's the what not to do.
It is, exactly. I would be in the head of the what not to do. But we're excited to have Spencer Erickson on the show today. Let's talk about our sponsors, why don't we?
Yeah, and we showcased New Line there for just a minute, and Tyson's doing cool stuff.
Great little, that's an example of what he can do for any company, a video like that. So.
And stuff like this. I used him for a project I'm working on last week, and it went really well. So Tyson does really professional videographer, drone work, photography, I think. Am I wrong, Tyson? He's saying maybe not. He's mad I said that. Get over it, Tyson.
Any kind of marketing, events, live streaming. I'm going to have him working on a project we're doing with the triathlons this summer, doing some drone and video coverage so we can have a promo video for it. Absolutely, just does great work. So.
And Volpine Marketing, Ryan Jose also doing cool stuff. Our website, that's
he keeps us up to date. We don't even have to, hardly check in with him. In fact, I don't think we have really checked in with him. I call him on some other things, but he just keeps everything up to date.
Yep. No, and he's doing cool stuff for his clients as a marketing agency as well.
Yep.
BBSI, right?
Just another meeting with Mike last night. Jared, Jeremy. Oh, they've got a new guy coming on. Yeah. Oh, we're going to be talking about the new guy. He's known in town. He's a prominent guy in town.
And you can't say a name yet? I don't even know this. Now it feels... Oh, wow.
Yeah, we'll whisper it now, but we'll talk about it later. I'm not sure if it's 100% official. Oh, it is 100% official, but whether it's not, he's not starting for a couple weeks. Okay. But we'll wait if no one heard my whisper there. So, but we're BBSI, what a great company. If you need any kind of human resources, they are the company to go to. Barrett Business Services Incorporated, I think.
I'll take your word for it.
Yep, but they are a great company. Everything HR, there's nothing they can't do to help your business with HR. The SBDC, Idaho's what?
Yeah, that's the best kept secret. If you're starting a business, are in business, they have great resources, all at $0. There are some course work that you have to, but that's where professionals are coming in and teaching those courses. And and anyway, the SBDC, it gets utilized, don't you think?
It is.
But still, if you're looking to start a business, I highly recommend the SBDC.
Go to idahosbdc.org, request an appointment if your business needs any kind of assistance. And of course, the Idaho Innovation Center got some big things happening at the Innovation Center. We do have a couple offices available. If you need an office for your business, come see us. We've got a couple, which is kind of rare to have there. But we appreciate our sponsors keeping us up and on the air every single freaking week, right?
Yeah, they do. Thank you.
So good. Well, we're going to watch just a quick video here that will introduce son of Eric Design, Spencer Erickson. This is a quick video that kind of showcases a little bit of what he does, and then we'll welcome the birthday boy.
That's right.
Spencer Erickson onto the set.
Hey there. I'm Spencer, the owner and creative director of Son of Eric Design in Idaho Falls. My specialty is designing visual branding for entrepreneurs and business owners just like you. Branding is communication. So if your branding isn't communicating the right message to your target audience, then it isn't doing its job, and you might be losing out on customers. So how can I help? Schedule a free 30-minute brand strategy call where we'll discuss things like how to put your business's core values at the forefront of your branding and where your current brand might be falling short. We will also discuss how to find the core benefits of your products or services that you should be leading with in your messaging. My sole mission is to make sure that your branding is not only getting you noticed, but to also communicate the right message to the right people. So click the button and schedule your call today. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you can see why I said it was your 15th birthday in that video. So obviously you're older than 15, right? So but you just woke up one day and said, "I want to be a branding expert." You went and got some schooling on it.
I did.
Right?
I didn't actually start college
as a graphic designer, though.
Okay, you said, oh, that's the easy road, and
Yeah. Well, I started off as a fine arts major. I was
Okay.
doing head drawing, portraiture, all that kind of stuff, with no real idea
Right.
of what I was going to do with that. And then I got the opportunity to design a logo, and just fell in love with the process, and switched my art emphasis at that point to graphic design. And
yeah. Are you still an artist at that level? Like, do you still draw quite a bit yourself, or
not nearly as much as I
Okay.
used to, but I should.
So that's not necessarily then your hand art isn't necessarily what you'll do for creating a logo for somebody. Then.
Correct. Yeah. Like I always start with pen and paper, sketching logos and stuff like that, but they're pretty rudimentary sketches just to get an idea down on paper.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And so then what is it that gets you up and saying, hey, because you got to love what you're doing first
Yeah.
off, I believe. And I think I just, from our interactions and knowing people that have used you, I think that, but what is the why behind Son of Eric?
The why really is, I love helping businesses refine that message so that, like I was saying in the video, so that you can reach that target audience. Because if you're not reaching the right people, then your brand isn't doing its job. Its one job is to reach the right people, and so that's what really gets me out of bed in the morning, is learning about my clients' businesses. It's really fascinating working with all these different types of clients, because you learn lots of weird and just unusual things that maybe not everybody gets in their job. But being able to work with those people, learn about their businesses, their products, their services, and then work with them to figure out how to brand those things so that it's appealing and you can create kind of raving fans about, what it is you're doing with your business.
Yeah, I've worked with some of the companies. So in the introduction, when I talked about he was going to be on the show, I called him the branding genius, branding guru, and I think and I've seen some of the works. I've worked with a lot of the companies that he's created their brand, and I got to say that you put a lot of time and thought and effort into doing what you're doing for the companies that you do, and it starts with, I think, having the degree helps. But he's just a quiet kind of guy. By the way, happy birthday!
Thank you, appreciate it.
Happy birthday! So, and I've seen some of the work that a company that I've working with in the last few months, and I've seen many. They'll tell you to go back and they want something a little bit smaller, something a little bit bigger, a little tweaking color. And I've seen different renditions of how you've done that, and every single time it's like that's much better. And the work that you do is absolutely. I hope that people will go to your website. What is your website, by the way?
It's sonoferickdesign.com. Eric with a K.
Eric with a K, unlike his name.
Yeah.
That has this random C in it. So.
Yeah, you got to thank Ellis Island for that.
That's right. That's right. So talk to us about some of when you get a new client, what is it from start to end? What are some of the things that are all included in that?
Yeah. So typically I work within branding packages, because I'm a big believer in that you need way more than just a logo to have a successful brand. And so with the branding package, we go through a branding questionnaire where it gives me some information about their target audience, about the background of their business and the ownership, whoever's running it. Also some questions about their aesthetic preferences. So I'm not shooting in the dark as far as, when I start sketching logos and that kind of thing. We also have a shared Pinterest board a lot of the time to kind of gather more ideas, just so I can get into my client's head, because they always have something that they've kind of visualized. And then I need to take that vision and make it something that's actually good, And so we do a lot of preliminary kind of ground foundational stuff in the beginning. And then we move into some mood boards just to make sure I'm on the right track and then we're on the same page. And then I start sketching in on logos and that kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah. It goes beyond, but it goes beyond the logo. What are some other things that you do with the companies beyond that?
Mm-hmm. So the way I like to explain branding to a lot of my clients is, if you picture kind of a stone archway made out of rocks, kind of ancient times archway, you've got your keystone up at the top that kind of supports everything, right? And your keystone in your brand is your logo. And if all you have is a logo, with this analogy, it's just a rock sitting on the ground. It's not a functional piece of architecture, right? And so you need things like a color palette, and you need to know what the formulas are for those colors, for print, for web. You need to know potentially if you have Pantone equivalents of those colors. That's really important, so that printers can match colors.
Yeah.
Your typography or the font choices and things that you use are really important in the sense that it's got to stay consistent across the boards, all your marketing efforts. The written voice of your brand, so the personality of all your written content, your photography and videography styles, all of these things are things that get wrapped up into that whole visual language that is your brand. And if you don't have those things set in place, when you start designing new marketing materials, it can be kind of tricky to get those things in place because you're kind of guessing each time, like, what are my colors? What fonts do I use? What font should be biggest in my headline, or what should be the subheading, and that kind of thing. It takes all that guesswork out because you've done the foundational work to get all that set up and just hit the ground running.
Because it's hard to get into the mind, because you said, hey, I got to get into the mind of my client and what they want. Because if you ask a client, they're going to say things like, well, I want something 3-dimensional but really 2-dimensional. I want it black but kind of white. I want it edgy but really conservative, right? Isn't that kind of the message that clients will say one thing and another? So to really get in there and deliver, how do you get inside the head of your client? Because they can be saying contrasting things at times.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
The preliminary stuff that we do, like the questionnaire, the Pinterest board, I do all of those things to kind of help mitigate any of those issues that could come in down the road. And that, generally speaking, doing those things helps me get inside their head. And just like the consultations and things that we do as well, just talking to them, I get a better feel of who they are personally. But there is something, sometimes it's necessary to remind the client that they are not their target audience in a lot of cases. And so it's important that the client likes their branding and all that stuff, but that the branding really communicates to whoever their target audience is. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because there are some logos out there that are kind of interesting, and when you look at big brands like Baskin and Robbins has a 31 in their logo that some people may not notice, or Amazon has an A to Z type thing. FedEx has the Go arrow.
Yep.
So what are those some of the kind of funner, trickier things that you work on with clients, or what's been a project that you've really liked because of some of the hidden messages?
One of the ones, probably one of my favorites, was All Hands Vending. We did that one a year ago or 2 years ago. I don't remember. It's been a while. But that one was really fun because when they originally came to me, they weren't named All Hands Vending. And so, and it really wasn't, their last name wasn't really telling their story a whole lot with their brand. And both of the owners are Navy veterans. And so we wanted to kind of incorporate some of that into it.
Yeah.
And part of their business model was that the vending machines would donate money to a charity of, the business owner's choice. And so I started researching slang terms and stuff in Navy terminology and phrases and stuff, and All Hands on Deck was one that came on really strong. And so I thought that went along with their whole thing of you buy something for yourself at a vending machine, and it donates a percentage of that to charity. And so it's kind of calling everybody all hands on deck to help support these different causes and things. And so,
wow, who would have ever thought of that?
Yeah. And so the symbol is, you've got all hands, and then you've got the symbol that looks like a vending machine. It's got the big window and the little slot down here, but it's also an exclamation point, like all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And so that one was really fun. It's really bright purple and gold, and you may have seen their van driving around. It's great.
Yeah.
That was a really fun one to work on.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, you in addition to this, you also do websites as well.
Yeah. So typically in web design, I mean, there's a lot of different platforms you can use. You can, build websites from scratch, which is really expensive. I've designed websites from scratch and then had developers code them from scratch and everything. With a lot of my clientele, I found that Squarespace works really well. It's a really clean, easy to use platform where I can build the website and then train my client on how to use the website so that they can easily manage it themselves. And it's not a good platform for everyone.
Right.
But it speeds up the process. I've found quite a bit in getting a website up for people that functions, that ranks well, and gets their message in front of the right people.
Wow, very good. Well, I want to talk about you. You're very involved with various networking groups. Tell me, what is it that has helped your company grow to get to the point that it's at? What are some of the work that you've had to do with the networking to get your company known out there?
That is funny. I'm a pretty introverted person. And so owning my own business and getting out there to networking groups and stuff was pretty intimidating at first. One of the main ones that I go to is the BNG, the Idaho Falls Business Networking
Group. Highly recommend that group. They meet every other Wednesday
every other
at
Wednesday.
the Innovation Center. You're always welcome to come try it out. If you need to network your business, you're welcome to come to that group.
Yeah,
at the Innovation Center every other Wednesday, and tomorrow is. I think it's an on day.
I think it is.
So
I need to check that.
So tomorrow is the date of it. But yes, tell us about what you've done with that group.
So I got invited. I've been running my business full time for about 4.5 years now, and I got invited to the group by somebody, just kind of vicariously. They knew me, and they invited me to the group, and I decided to kind of break out of my shell and go. And it's been a huge blessing going to that and just getting to know a lot of other entrepreneurs in the area, some really kind people. I've gotten a lot of business through there and made some just really good friends and connections. But I mean, you have to network. If you're going to run a business, you have to get out there and get to know people. And so getting out of your shell and your comfort zone is huge.
Yeah, and I think I've seen you at some chamber luncheons as well. You got to get out there and do those kind of things. If you want to get your business heading in the right direction, you have to do that. Why did you choose downtown Idaho Falls?
I love downtown.
Yeah.
I think downtown it's just kind of this hidden gem. There's so many cool businesses down here. The architecture is beautiful. And I just felt like it was kind of an inspiring place to be. And so when I was looking for an office a couple years ago, I was trying to get a hold of whoever was in charge of the Rogers building. And at the time, that was kind of hard.
Yeah.
And
now it's pretty easy.
Now it's pretty easy. But I was driving by, I had an open afternoon and thought, you know what, I'm just going to walk in there and see if I can find somebody. And just knocked on a random door, and they happened to be inside, and so they got me in touch with the right people, and it's been fantastic. I just love being down in this area. It's just inspiring. So
this building, they're doing a bunch of renovations. They've recently redone the conference room area, but they've got the whole upper floor that's just got some great. You've gone up and toured it.
Yeah, the apartments that are up there are they're some
awesome.
of the most phenomenal. They're awesome. You've seen them too, then.
One of my clients were the ones that designed them.
Yeah, they are amazing.
Yep. So there is just some magic about, when they finish the main level of this building. I can tell you that
it's going to be,
and some of the outside gets maybe some of that, but they're just doing some wonderful things here. I've tried talking people out of getting out of downtown Idaho Falls and coming out to my building, and they just won't do it. Once you've been down here and seen the magic that is in downtown Idaho Falls, it does happen. So good. Talk about some of the other companies that you've worked with here in this area.
Yeah. So one of the bigger projects that I got to work on that I'm so glad I got the chance to work on was Alturas Preparatory Academy. They're the new charter middle school, high school over at the mall. And so I got to do all of their academic branding, and that project. So it was my biggest branding package that I offer is the whole thing: website, logo, color palette, all of their marketing materials, all that stuff. And so I got to work with the principal and a handful of the board of directors. And we developed some really solid academic branding for their school that I think really sets them apart from the other schools in the area, because they're really focused on the academics and not so much the sporting and stuff like that. They have some sports, but it was such a fun process to brand a school. I hadn't done that previously. and it was different than a business, but it was incredibly fun, and yeah.
So yeah, and so was that Brian Bingham that you worked with on that? Yeah, so Brian was a friend of mine. We actually, that's funny that they don't have sports, because we coached football together at Hillcrest before he went on to that. But what is that like? Because it is, I mean, they're an entity, right? But when you're dealing with a business owner versus a board of people that have to make, is that a slower process for you, or was it they kind of have to trust you and say, yeah, let's move forward? Or what was your, I guess, what was your role in making all that happen? Because I think Alturas looks great.
Yeah, thank you. That one was a little tricky. So we designed a handful of logo concepts for them, and we dug down into one of those concepts a little bit, and it just didn't really seem like it was jiving. And so in a meeting with like 5 or 6 other people, I was the one designer, and then everybody else is on the board. I pulled out my laptop and opened up the main design file. That the way that I do it, it's just like a whole bunch of crap all over the place, and things are just duplicated everywhere, and it's just like my process.
Yeah.
And I don't generally show that to anybody because it's a mess. But I pulled it up and showed it to them, and they saw a concept that I had thrown out, and they're like, I like that.
Yeah.
That looks really nice. And it was the A with the kind of swooping crossbar. And so we took that concept and just started refining that one, and that's what they ended up with.
Yeah.
Wow, great work. When we have a person on the show, we send them a little questionnaire that they do. And one of the question is, what is some advice that you would give other entrepreneurs? And as I read this, I thought it was so impactful. And that's what our main show is, talking to the entrepreneurs. But I want to give you some of the advice that Spencer did. He said, don't give up. Persistence is absolutely key to succeeding in any aspect of life, and entrepreneurship is no exception. Be vulnerable. I can't express how much being really open with people and about business and personal struggles have helped me in recent years. I believe people are generally good and want to help each other, but if they don't know what you're dealing with, they won't help. Talk openly with trusted friends and peers, and you will be amazed at the sound advice that you can get. That is absolutely great advice. That I'm sure that you've used that to get to where you are in your branding company.
Yeah, 100%. So when I started this company, I was working for another company at the time on an in-house web design team, and I ended up getting fired from that team. And then 2 days later, we had our second child, and then 2 weeks after that, I started this business. And that was those things were not just a part of all the craziness that was happening that month. It was insanity. And I kicked things off with a Facebook Live video, which I had never done at the time, and was very vulnerable about what had just happened, what I was doing, and got my first big ticket client off of that video. And from that point on, it's just grown and grown.
Wow.
So it's not trying to sell snake oil. It's actually being honest and forthcoming with people. I think that's great. And you've had to not change who you are, but do things that make you uncomfortable.
Sure.
Because you would prefer to work back here behind the scenes versus go out to these networking groups. And now that you've gone to the networking groups, it's a lot
easier to get to them now.
Yeah. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
But at first, it was a bit of a mental challenge to get myself to get there.
You're all psyching yourself up in the mirror.
What a great story. Son of Eric Design. Is there anything else that the people here in Eastern Idaho needs to know about Son of Eric?
Just that we were a branding studio. There's a million graphic designers out there, and every one of them can do a logo for you. But branding is so much more than just a logo. So if you need, if you have kind of that mindset of you want to create something that's going to grow as your business grows and be able to evolve with that, then come and talk to me, and I'll help you develop a full brand that will grow as your business grows and develops and changes. So
wow,
exciting.
The branding guru, the marketing genius. Yes, I've seen the work that he's done. Spencer Erickson at Son of Eric is absolutely someone that I would recommend. Check out his website. What was that? SonofEricDesign.com. and check out his work. I can verify that he does phenomenal work. I'm working with a great company right now, and Charlie speaks very highly of you. So enjoy working with them on that project. So we wish you the best of luck, and end with this quote. I love Dave Chappelle's mother's quote from Dave Chappelle's mother. Talk about that.
So I like Dave Chappelle. I don't watch him a ton because he can be pretty gruff. But I was watching a special of his, and he's such a good storyteller. I mean, that's kind of his brand of comedy. And he told this story about his mom saying this quote. Sometimes you got to be the lion so you can be the lamb you really are. And that resonated with me a lot in when I got let go from my last job and started this whole thing. Is that like I was really used to being a lamb and just like I had a good job and like good pay and whatever. And you kind of have to, when you get put into a situation where things are crazy like that, you have to become kind of a lion. You have to be more aggressive and like get after it so that you can be who you really are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
Love that quote. So thanks for sharing that. So very good. Well, we grateful you've been on the show today. We're going to transition right into some training. We had this a guy talk about this book in a mastermind that Tyler and I are in.
Yeah.
And it really hit home, and it was like, wait a minute. Some people are doing 4-hour work weeks, and I'm sitting here busting my butt. It kind of sounded pretty interesting. So I've read portions of the book, but I can tell you that there's some really good points in this book. And I mean, what would life be like if everyone could work just 4 hours?
Yeah. Well, and Tim Ferriss has a podcast. He's really well known. He has the 4-Hour Body too, which you
know all about. Yeah. Obviously, I don't.
What's the Titans? Tools of Titans, I think, is his other book. That's interviews of successful people. Just does cool stuff. But I think his is being more effective. I don't know if you're familiar with Tim Ferriss at all. Yeah. But really, it becomes sometimes, and we can go through the bullet points. But sometimes we are so busy putting out fires that's where our focus ends up. Versus
you got to work smarter instead of harder. That's what he's basically telling you.
Yeah.
You don't have to put in 40 hours, but you can if you're just smart and effective. So let's go through some of those points.
Yeah.
Ask, if this is the only thing I accomplished today, will I be satisfied? And if we all started out at 8 o'clock every day and ask that question.
Yeah, because then you start focusing on the things that I think bring a level of satisfaction. I mean, this show, actually hanging with Brian once a week, is a ton of fun for me.
Yeah.
And if this is the only thing I do today, which it hasn't been, but if it was, I'd be okay with that.
That'd be good.
I'd be satisfied. Yeah.
And one of the big things that I'm a big Pareto principle guy, 80-20 rule. I think it fits in a lot of aspects. But focus on the 20% of work that brings 80% of the results. And people would be surprised if they really sat down and analyzed how important that Pareto principle is, the 80-20 rule.
Well, and I think that even extends into our clients, right? So if you have 20% of your clients brings you a lot more than the 80% that brings you a headache, wouldn't you want to get rid of the 80% of your clients and get down to 20%? And it transcends all sorts of aspects of work, life, balance, the whole bit. I think sometimes we just get so fixated on the things that really don't matter because they're the headaches that we're facing. Just got to get rid of the headaches.
Absolutely. You do. Let's quickly go through some of the others. Clearly define time for work and relaxation. Absolutely one of the best things I've learned by my business coach that I had many years ago. He taught me how to do that. He said, the next time you're going to Hawaii, you're not gonna do business on your phone. And the next time I went, it was absolutely a 10 times better trip. So develop the most important habit, action. Focus on being productive instead of busy. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but that one knocks me on the floor. Every morning I get up, I open up the email. I got 4 different emails that I pay attention to.
Or worse, you open up social media, right?
Yeah, that's even way worse. Because that's a 2-hour time frame.
Yeah.
Email's usually about a half hour. So delegate and automate unimportant tasks. Trying to get better at that. That's one of the things that I learned from that.
That's a tricky one, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because as my business is small, it's me and one junior designer. But I've learned a lot in just being able to let go of some of the stuff that I felt like I was the only one that could do it, and train her so that she can do it, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Oh.
And it's so nice.
It is so wonderful. I struggle in doing that as well. It's just like, I might as well do it. If I want it done right, I might as well do it myself. But the more I do that, the more I get blown away with the work that gets put back at me that, oh, wow, I would have never thought of that. That's great.
Do your most important task before 11 a.m. I like that too. It's really kind of putting momentum to the day, and then there's a focus there, and then I think that your focus kind of stays there too. Yeah. If it's later, you're focused on all the stuff that still probably needs to get done, but it's like it's not producing the results that you're looking for.
Yep. Improve income per hour, not total income. Age doesn't matter. An open mind does. As we are interviewing the 15-year-old here, that that makes sense. Quit things that aren't working. Learn how to control your time and leverage your strengths. Absolutely, some great advice. If you get this book, the next slide. You want to go to the next slide there. This is the kind of what the book's all about. Is 4 issues that you want to define, eliminate, automate, and liberate, and that's what the book teaches you to do, is to put things into those 4 categories, to define them, eliminate the things that aren't making you any money, or eliminate things that are time wasters. Then you need to automate it, and then you need to liberate, and that's how we'll all feel working 4 hours a week.
Yeah, I'm for it.
We all need to do it. Encourage you to read the book by Timothy Ferriss. In fact, we're going to watch a video here that will better describe it than what we have done. Let's talk about next week's show.
Yeah, let's do that.
Rod? You've already forgotten, haven't you?
You're like afraid that Rod Ferriss is a friend of mine, and because I have issue with elected officials,
a few elected
times,
not Rod Ferriss.
Not Rod. No, Rod's great. Rod's done some amazing things, and
he's a well-liked and respected is the word as a politician, and I can't say that every politician out there is like that in my books, and I will be speaking.
I look at them like I appreciate what they're doing, but at the same time I'm going to complain because that's who I am.
That's right. So we've got Rod Ferriss. Recently, we invited him a couple months ago on the show, and this is why I respect the guy. He said, I probably shouldn't be on the show until after the elections. Yeah. You know, most politicians would take it as a time of, let me get my face and name out there. And in fact, the date that I had was on the 17th last week when the elections were going. And he said, I don't think that would be good. He says, I'd rather choose to be after the elections. And so we're excited. We've got him on there. We've got a rock star lineup of people lined up for June. We're working on July already. And so we're excited about some of the guests that we have coming up here on Talkin Business. Thank you, Spencer. Wish you the best. And son of Eric Design. Encourage you to go look him up and watch this video. I think that it's let's see here, about a 5-minute video that really gets you into doing those almost 6-minute video. That gets you into being and doing that 4-hour work week. We all like to do.
Yep.
So
there you go.
So thanks for joining us today. Give us a thumbs up. That's how we end every show. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Talkin Business.
I recently read the book The 4-Hour Workweek by author Tim Ferriss. A 4-hour workweek seems like a fun fantasy, but a rather impossible reality, given how damn busy we are every day. But in the book, Tim challenges the I'm too busy excuse. He says being busy is a form of laziness. Lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. He says we mistake activity for productivity, and we end up doing work just for work's sake, which ultimately distracts us from doing what's most important and difficult. But by embracing 2 universal laws of productivity, we can learn to stop doing work for work's sake and discover how a 40-hour work week can be condensed down to a 4-hour work week. The 2 universal laws of productivity are Pareto's Law and Parkinson's Law. Pareto's Law states that the majority of results come from a select few efforts, and Parkinson's Law states that work expands or contracts according to the time you allot for it. Tim discovered the first law of productivity, Pareto's Law, while managing his sports nutrition company in 2004. In an effort to stay on top of everything, he worked more than 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. On the verge of an anxiety attack, he decided to conduct an experiment. He simply stopped reaching out to 95% of his low-producing clients and fired the 2% that were responsible for most of the angry emails and late-night phone calls he received. He shortened his work week and focused his attention on building relationships with the top 3% producers and finding new clients that match the characteristics of those top 3%. Tim says, I went from chasing and appeasing 120 customers to simply receiving large orders from 8, with absolutely no pleading phone calls or email haranguing. My monthly income increased from $30K to $60K in 4 weeks, and my weekly hours immediately dropped from over 80 to approximately 15. Most important, I was happy with myself and felt both optimistic and liberated for the first time in over 2 years. Tim discovered the power of the second law of productivity, Parkinson's law, after finishing a paper in college. 24 hours before handing in the 30-page paper worth 25% of his overall grade, Tim received a call from the company he interviewed for his paper and was told he couldn't use the information they previously provided him. This meant his entire paper was useless. He panicked, and he went to his professor to ask for an extension. His professor calmly looked at him and said, I think you'll be okay. With no other option, Tim got to work on a new paper. Miraculously, he found, interviewed, and dissected a new company within 24 hours and produced the best paper of his life. He discovered that the time pressure forced him to focus on execution and doing the bare essentials, which resulted in a better product without any bloat. Tim says, if I give you a week to complete the same task, it's 6 days of making a mountain out of a molehill. When we combine the two laws of productivity, we are left with the following realization. Most things don't matter, and what matters most needs less time to complete than we think. If you doubt the first part of that statement, think back to yesterday and any success that you experienced. Which activities led to that success? When I do this exercise, I can only think of 1 or 2 hours of focused work that greatly contributed to my success. The vast majority of other things I did seemed important at the time, but made little difference to the end result. Now think of your life over the last 5 years. Which decisions led you to where you are today? When I think about this, I can think of only a few key decisions that led me to the books, the relationships, and the projects that made all the difference in my life. Everything else doesn't seem to have mattered much. If you doubt the second part of that statement, think back to the last time you needed to complete your work before going on a long vacation. Did it seem impossible at the time? Did you get through it? I recall a time when I was a project manager and engineer working on 5 major projects and needing to get through a seemingly impossible amount of work before going on vacation at the end of the week. Somehow, I found a way to delegate tasks I thought I could only do and tie up loose ends that I thought would take weeks to resolve. Much like Tim, I realized that when faced with seemingly impossible time constraints, I have no choice but to focus just on the bare essentials and be highly resourceful. And oftentimes, this results in a better product. Our minds will naturally fight the idea that most things don't matter and what matters most needs less time to complete than we think. So, we need to develop a habit of challenging ourselves to think differently. Each morning, get in the habit of simulating the following scenarios. First, pretend you've just had a heart attack and your doctor says you can only work 2 hours a day. Any more than that and you'll have another heart attack and die. What few things do you decide to do? What gets removed from your day? For the second simulation, pretend there's a family emergency and you need to leave the country tomorrow. No one will be able to reach you for days. What systems do you set up? What do you delegate? What do you make sure gets done today, despite how impossible it might seem? By running these scenarios each day, you sharpen your thinking. You prevent yourself from doing work just for work's sake. And you learn what it means to be truly effective, making each hour count. With enough practice, you'll start to see how you can turn a 40-hour work week into a 4-hour work week. That was the core message that I gathered from Tim's book. Now that you know what it means to be effective, Tim can offer you strategies to escape the 9-to-5 and work from anywhere. If you would like a 1-page PDF summary of the other insights that I gathered from the 4-hour work week, like deciding which tasks you should automate and outsource, just click the link below and I'd be happy to email it to you. If you already subscribe to the free Productivity Game newsletter, this PDF is sitting in your inbox. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a productive day.